Okay, now that I have everything cut to length and cut to width, it's time to start routing the juice groove into the boards. Now I have my jig set up to be able to route a groove inch and a half in from the edge of the board all the way around. And my router is set to a 1/4 inch depth cut, which on each pass I'll take off about a 32nd to a 1/16 of an inch and just gradually work my way down to a 1/4 inch depth cut. Now, since this is really loud and kicks out a lot of dust and shavings, hearing, eye, and dust protection face mask are highly recommended when doing this process. So let's get going. Alright, now that we have all four of our boards cut with a juice groove, they're all trimmed down and everything, time to start sanding these babies down and get a smooth finish and clean up this glue joint right here just a little bit. So we're going to start off with the palm sander. It's 80 grit, sand until it's smooth on all 6 sides, and then go through all other three boards that way, and then switch over to 120 grit, and then we'll do 220 grit, and then we'll oil it and sand it later on after it's oiled. But right now, let's get going with this. Alright, all the boards have been sanded down to 220 grit. They're nice and smooth. Now it is time to go ahead and start applying our oil to seal the boards up and make them food safe and all that good jazz. And the oil I'm using is Howard's cutting board oil. Had no issues with it. Works great. Goes in well, absorbs well. So let's get going. I'm just going to eat it. What I have this bottle plus part of the new bottle I got. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of oil used on these cutting boards. As dry as this wood is, you want a lot. Not a whole bunch, but enough when you first apply it to soak in the grain. You don't want any dry spots whatsoever. And your excess you have on your rag, you go through and wipe off the edge, on the edges. Wipe off any excess on the bottom here. Five sides done right there. We flip the board over. Don't need as much this time because that rag has quite a bit in there soaked in, so getting some of these juice grooves. your excess. And there you have it. One board done. 3 to go. A lot of sapwood in this piece. All 4 of them have sapwood like this. So I'm really curious to see how they're going to turn out. Alright, and here are all 4 of the boards. Freshly oiled. Let them sit overnight, let the oil soak in. And then tomorrow put in the feet, and I'll show that little process with the handy little jig that I have. Make the process of installing them go a lot quicker instead of trying to guess. So until then, alright, it's time to do the final finishing touches, which is installing the feet and the handles on these cutting boards. First off, we're going to be using this little jig right here to install the feet. Have a little pilot hole drilled in and spacer blocks to accommodate an 1.5 inches from here to this hole, from here to that hole. What happens, I put this on there like that and drill my pilot hole, and it sets it evenly all the way around the board so the feet are all dead on in line and not all squirrely. So we'll be going with that process first. Don't want to drill too deep. Help actually. The purpose of drilling these pilot holes with this is that way when you're putting the screws in for the feet, the screws don't start splitting and cracking the wood. And I'm going to be using these little rubber feet right here. It's like this. Screw goes in. You can use it to adjust. You know, if the board has a little twist in it or a warp, you can adjust it to make the board flat again. I'm going to tighten them all the way down for the moment. I'll do all the feet first, and then I'll go back later and install the handles. And these are stainless steel, so there's no worries about them rusting. And that's the feet. Alright, now that our feet are installed, go ahead and put the handles on. And I've already centered out on the board 7 3/4 inch from either side. These handles are 6.5 inches long, and that way it'll be true and even on both sides. That way, when they try to pick it up, it's not going to be all lopsided and awkward trying to carry and all that stuff. So now we got these handle on here. We're going to drill a couple of small pilot holes for the screws to go in. Ain't got to be deep, but just enough to allow the screw to bite in there comfortably. Stupid thing will quit moving. Alright. Switch out bits. And all these are just regular gate latches, or gate handles, you want to call them. Nothing fancy about them. Pick them up at Lowe's. You don't want to bottom them out right away. You can at least get a couple started. To help hang it. If you tighten them down all the way, and you gotta try to adjust them later, you're not gonna be able to. And don't drop your screws either. Alright, all screws are in. We'll start with the top right. Okay, and just like you would tighten the lug nuts on a car, just go opposite. And there you go. One handle installed, 7 to go. And they are all done. Handles are all on, feet are on, adjusted so they lay flat. Gave them all a fresh coat of oil. The wood on top was looking a little bit dry. Other than that, they are done. And they're ready to go. Hope y'all enjoyed the project as much as I did. And I will see y'all next time.